didn't
to do with
explode. No,
investing.
it just landed.
No. Oh, hey, everybody. Welcome, Dumb Investing. I'm Lloyd.
I'm Harry.
And it's about to get dumb up in here. All right. So, carrying on the theme of yesterday's show, we're totally broke. Spent all our money already. We're working on a plan on how we're going to bring back the Daily Show and do the random stock picking and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we are starting, I don't know, it's not channel 2, playlist 2, whatever.
Yeah,
we're going into real estate.
Just a subcategory.
Yeah, subcategory. It's another way to invest, right? We a lot of things in life are investments. So let's take a look at our portfolio. Let's get that out of the way, and then we can walk down the real estate path.
I'm super excited for the rest of this episode.
This is going to be a good episode.
I love it. This is great. Super exciting.
Yeah, we're going to learn about the hole in my backyard.
It's going to be great. I've never built a pool or seen a pool being built, so I think, yeah, it's crazy.
I'll do my best. I'll enlighten the world.
All right, here we go. So, another day of, kind of 50-50 today. A little bit, I think we got one more green than we got red.
We'll call it mixed.
Yeah, and so to start out with our losers, we've got MGIC down 2.79% today. And Lazy Boy, surprisingly, actually, that's interesting. Lazy Boy was down a bit today. So they're at 44.10. Our position's at 42.77.
Yeah, look where we bought that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Making bank.
So it was red on the day, but it's green in life.
Yeah. Well,
in our life, in dumb investing world. That's the only one that matters.
And then our friends over at Centrus Energy continue to print some green money.
You don't want to call them. You don't want to call them tendies like the Reddit people.
I feel like it's like we're kind of stealing that from some other people, but I'm totally cool with calling them tendies too.
Tendies are fun, right? It's just a fun thing.
It's chicken tendies. Everybody likes chicken tendies.
The Reddit guys, right? That's where that whole thing started. Yeah.
Yeah. Reddit guys, tendies, rocket ships to the moon, all that fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. All the meme stuff.
Yeah, that's great. All kinds of fun. So Centrus Energy was up, and so they close at 25.26, and our position's over at 24.16. So pretty good.
Yeah,
MGM was up today, and again 37.40, and we're closing at 41.75. MGM
and here in America, dude, we're like throwing our masks away and stuff. We're going to start going to Vegas and partying. It's going to be awesome.
Here in Canada, and one particular part that I happen to live, we're basically just shut down today. So it's completely two different tales of winning and not winning, apparently.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, the differences. So the interesting thing I found out about today when I was looking at our portfolio is that we were still down on the day, which I thought was interesting because it looks like we should have been up, but
yeah, it did.
Yeah. So we're down $75 total.
All right, which is $75. I'm trying to do the math.
2.5%.
2.5. Yeah. That's nothing to sweat about right now, though.
Absolutely. I mean, way further down than that from February when, we reached some of the highs in the stock market in February, and everything is just ticking down. So
it'll come back in the fall. The fall's going to be great.
Yeah.
We're going to be so green. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to experience a little bit more pain for a few more months, and then the fall, hopefully we start seeing maybe some inflation stuff taper off a bit, and then those fears go away, and we can start seeing some money going back into the stock market.
Right on.
Hopefully. All right.
So, Daily Show. Bow. Got it done.
Nailed it.
Nailed that thing. Okay. So we're going to take a trip down the Picker Pool. So,
all right. Do you want to minimize our faces on your screen right now?
Do you want me to what?
Do you want to minimize our faces on your screen? Because I can't
Not yet.
see it.
Let's leave us up for a little bit, and then I'll get to the pictures. I want to tell the story first, or should I just tell the story? Yeah, I want to tell the story first. So we...
we'll go back then. Well, tell the story.
we moved from the northern states to the south, and in doing so, my wife was really concerned that living in the south is going to suck unless you have a pool. And so you'll notice that we didn't have a pool for 10 years that I've been here, right? So we saved money, and I want to talk to people about saving money and how important it is to put it somewhere where you don't even see it. So I do crazy direct deposit stuff. So I direct deposit to basically 4 accounts. So I direct deposit to my checking account, which is the money that I see every day. That's the stuff I play with. And then I direct deposit to 3 different savings accounts, and they each have a different process. Like one savings account is for my rental house, one savings account was for the pool, and one savings account was for Todd fun stuff or family fun stuff, as it may be. If we wanted to take a little trip or do something like that, we would only spend what was in the savings account. So if we decided we wanted to go do something, we'd look at the savings account and say, oh, we've got $2,000. What do we want to do that we're only going to spend $2,000?
The picker fund.
The picker fund, yes. So we started researching the pool about June of 20. And we started, so that's when we thought we had, we thought we had way more than enough. We thought we were going to get a pool, and we were going to do an addition to the garage for me, so I could park the truck inside. But we ended up, once we started shopping for a pool, we realized that pools are really, really expensive, and we only had money for a pool. So what we did is we did our homework, and we looked at fiberglass pools, and we looked at gunite. And gunite is basically a fancy way to say sprayed concrete.
Okay.
All right. So those were the 2 we looked at, and we interviewed 4 different companies, 2 gunites and 2, or gunite, I don't know how you say it the right way, gunite maybe is the right way, and 2 fiberglass pool companies. And what we kept running into is the fiberglass guys were all about speed and how fast, right? That they could get a pool in so fast, it's going to be so awesome, and they're the speedy guys. They were, for the most part, once you told somebody what the budget was, they both spent the budget. So I can't say that one of them was less expensive than the other. They both, came up with the same number when they understood what my budget was. And so, full transparency, we said we were going to be full transparent, right? So you want me to talk about dollars?
Let's talk dollars.
All right. So the hole in the ground you're going to see is a $75,000 pool. That's was the budget.
That's a lot of dollars.
Dude, that is a whole bucket full of tendies.
Yeah.
So that's what we went in with the budget. And we went in with a wish list. We wanted like a sun deck where our grandson can play and we can, chill. Grandpa can chill with a beer and not have to worry about drowning, stuff like that. And then we interviewed about 4 of our neighbors that had pools. We talked to them about who did their pool. We talked to them about what they liked and what they didn't like. And the one thing that we found is 3 of our 4 neighbors told us if they were going to do a pool again, they wouldn't do it so deep. They said that everybody kind of conjugates in the shallow end, and the deep end really never gets used. And so when we talked to our pool companies, I asked them about that, and they said, we're seeing a lot more requests now for what they call a play pool versus a diving pool. And so what you're going to see when I start showing you guys pictures of this, I've got, some pictures to the start, and then I've got a video I took tonight so you guys can see the progress that's happened in 5 months. But basically it's going to be 5 feet deep in the middle, and then it works its way out to the edges where it's 3 feet at the shallows. And so it's a pool that can be, the whole thing can be used when there's a party and stuff. And if you want to put up a net, it's the perfect pool for pool volleyball and stuff like that. So That was the design. Was we wanted it to be fun, and we also wanted it to be large enough that if we wanted to try to swim laps or jog laps, there's a lot of people that talk about jogging in your pool. It's much easier on your knees, when you're getting old like me. So those were all part of the design features. The biggest one was the sun deck, and then we wanted a wall at the back, because you guys, when you see the pictures and you see the video, you'll see that my backyard backs up to the jogging path in the neighborhood. And so we're not allowed to have a privacy fence back there. Now, I can build a hedge at some point, to give us some privacy, but we wanted to put a wall up too, so that we had, a little bit more privacy when we were in the pool and stuff like that.
Right.
So once we decided, we could go either way with either the fiberglass or the gunite. We didn't really care. What we cared about was the way the companies treated us. And the fiberglass guys were all about, wham, bam, we're going to do 100 pools. And that's who we are. We're the get her done fast guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The guy that we settled on is, hey, I started life working with my dad, and he was a pool tech. So we would go out to people's houses and keep their pools clean. And then we got into repairs because, we started seeing pools breaking down, and we kept seeing the same repairs over and over and over. And, I thought there was a better way to do it. So I just started building pools, and that's my livelihood. And his wife is the designer, and his brother owns the gunite truck, so it was a real kind of hometown feel. The guy lives in the neighborhood next to me, and he's like, hey, here's 5 people the last 5 pools I did, I'm not going to lie. They all didn't go perfect, but here's the last 5, call them up and talk to them. And I did. I called all 5 of the references, and every single one of them said, it wasn't perfect, but we're going to call him JC, but JC made it right. And they all said that. And it was like, man, I really want somebody that's going to stand behind it. So that's why we chose him. And so then from there,
that's so funny. I just wanted to bring up a point, because when we talk about my basement development here, either tomorrow or next week, very much the same. I got a local guy, actually lives in my neighborhood, and it was a guy, he said, I'm not going to be the fastest. I may not even be the cheapest, but I'm going to stand behind my work, and I will guarantee that you're going to be happy.
It's funny. When we were talking about budgets, I actually told them we had a $70,000 budget, and I was going to keep my, like 5% for contingency. So I told them all 70. And this guy came back at 75, and he said, I know I'm over your budget, but I can't find a way to cut corners, and I'm not going to do it. So it's either 75 or we just make it smaller. And I said, okay, you're the
Fair
boss,
enough,
dude.
Right?
Yeah, it was perfect.
Wow. Cool.
So I went and did some homework then on the Google. I Googled pool contracts, and I read about what needs to be inside of a pool contract and stuff like that. And so then we decided to purchase the pool, right? So at that point, pool guy came over, and we sat down, and we talked about everything that was going to be included. And I said, I want a written contract. That is the most critical thing when you're doing stuff like this, is if it's just 2 people talking and something goes wrong, it's very, very hard to come to common ground, because 2 people talking may hear 2 different stories. But when it's all on paper and you guys can both point to items on the paper, it takes out that degree of mystery. So every time we talked about stuff, I told him, well, let's make sure that's in the contract. Let's make sure. So the first time he gave me a contract, I had kept all my notes on the side, right? And he gave me a contract, and there were some things that weren't in there. And I said, hey, what about this? What about this? And he was like, yeah, you're totally going to get that. I'm like, well, it's got to be on the contract. He's like, well, but that's just kind of what I do. It's just standard stuff. I said, I don't care. I don't know you, but I'm trusting you with a lot of my money. Let's just put it on the paper. He's like, I understand why you're doing this. Yeah, I'll redo it. So he had his computer with there, and he put everything in there, and it wasn't a big deal. It was just, to him, it was common sense stuff. And to me, I'm like, look, I've never built a pool before. I think I would be more comfortable if it was in writing. And he was like, yeah, sure, you got it.
Right. Very smart. Good job. Well done.
Yeah, and my advice to people is if you have somebody that starts arguing with you on stuff like that, there's probably a reason why. Get it all on paper, every last detail. Like mine, it talked about the tile size. It talked about how many parts of the wall, that the wall was going to be rocked on all four sides, and it wasn't just going to be a concrete wall on one side. All those kinds of things. I didn't leave anything to chance, because to me, this was huge money. I mean, this is
absolutely
10 years of savings, is going into this hole in the ground. So we signed actually he pushed the schedule on the signing up. He came to me the day after Christmas, and we were still going through the contract stuff and making, the decision if we were going to go forward with him or not. And he came to me the day after Thanksgiving, or the day after Christmas, and he said, "Hey, I want to let you know I'm not putting any pressure on you, and we can write a contract for just the equipment. But in 2021, the equipment is increasing 15%. And I knew a little bit, about raw goods going up because of, the work that I do 9 to 5, that we were seeing supply chains, everything was increasing there too. So it made sense. And I don't think he was trying to push me, but he was just like, look, if we do this, if we sign the contract by the end of the year, I can get the contract on the equipment, save you 15%. I was like, okay, that seems fair. So give me a couple of days. I want the full contract. I read through the whole thing, off we went. So signed the contract, gave him his deposit. So then nothing happened. And we went through January, and I think you want to go ahead and go to my live stream then, and
sure.
We can start talking about the pictures. So tell me when I'm good.
You are good. I see your pictures.
All right. So this is our backyard about February 3rd, I think, is when they broke ground for us. So the first thing they did is JC and his wife and a helper came out, and they pounded in all those stakes and all those boards. And those boards are what he called the outline. He said, that's your pool outline. It was like, okay, cool. Right. So all we had was flat ground with these boards. And we were like, okay, that's crazy. Right. And to me, I've never built one of these before, so I didn't know. But I was like, okay, cool. So here's all these boards. And then like 3 days later, a little mini excavator came and started digging. So this section here, can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay. So that section there, that's, basically the middle of the pool is going to be right here. So that's dug down about 5 feet, 3 feet on either edge. And this is about 37 feet from end to end, 16 feet from side to side. And then the tanning deck here is like 4 feet by 20 or something like that.
Cool.
So they excavated, they had to tear out a bunch of trees and stuff that we had on the side of the house where all the equipment was going. And so they put it all in a big pile in the backyard. And you guys will see the pile when I do the video. But this is basically hole in the ground, right? You can see out there, those are some of the trees they had to pull. So down around the side of the house here, you guys will see it during the video later. But there's all the equipment is way over here. And you guys will get to see pictures here in a second. So that's what happened first. And about a week went by. And that's looking at it from our covered porch where you're going to be, walking out onto the thing. Oh man. Oh, I just totally forgot. The guy was supposed to come by my barbecue tonight. I told him I'd text him when I got home. I just realized I forgot to text him. I'm a horrible person. I am a horrible person. I didn't write it down.
You know what do? We'll skip the video tonight. Maybe we'll play that tomorrow, but we'll go through the pictures.
Are we running out of time?
Yeah, we're at about 19 minutes. So.
Oh my gosh. See, I can talk forever. I got a problem. Okay, so we'll try to get this through fast. We'll get through the pictures. We'll story the video. So about a week later, the steel guys showed up. And
how they do that? All that rebar in there.
And these are all bricks. So they brought bricks and they were busting bricks up to elevate the rebar. And they were bending it and tying it together and cutting it off with all their grinders. They were just, it was crazy. So there's just rebar everywhere, right? You can see, there's rebar where the wall is going to be built over here. It crisscrosses. It's double thick here. He told me why. I can't remember exactly, but for the weight of the water there is heavier because it was deeper, right?
Sure.
And you'll notice these copper lines everywhere. They have these grounds just running every place.
Really?
And, oh yeah, and I had no idea, right? And he said that the flowing water creates static electricity, and you have to control the ground so people don't get shocked and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And you can see there's like a big, huge ground wire. Oh yeah, that's what he said, dude. Said it's part of the code. The code, you have to have all this grounding stuff. So there's been inspectors that come out and they've checked and made sure all the wires were right.
Wow.
Yeah, and there you can see there's a bunch of that ground wire there. They took that wire and they ran it all throughout the apron before they poured the concrete around it.
Wow.
Right, crazy, huh? I had no idea. So this is about 2 weeks later. So we're now. Oh, so funny thing. Before the pipes came in, they installed the equipment the week after the rebar. And before we installed the equipment, I don't know how much everybody remembers, but the South down here went through a horrible, horrible freeze. And it was multiple days of below zero down here that never happens. And we also lost electricity for days. And so many pools got destroyed. It's just unbelievable, right? The equipment froze up. There was no electricity. Wow. Pools froze and they cracked. I mean, it was just crazy. And my guy came to me and he said, hey, if you're okay with the hole in the ground for about a year, I can triple your money on that equipment right now.
No doubt.
Yeah, it was in such high demand. But because we had done our stuff earlier, all the equipment was sitting in my garage as of like January 15. They came and delivered it all.
Right.
So this guy shows up and he drops all these pipes in. This was about a week and a half, 2 weeks after the rebar, right? So this is about a month in that all these pipes got dropped. And so they call this the manifold up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the pipes are the different nozzles that the pool will have. So there will be nozzles for recirculation. There'll be nozzles for waterfalls. There'll be nozzles for bubblers, all that other stuff. But they they had to trench all around the house. And you can see the dude right back there. He had a little mini excavator. Yeah. That's the same thing that they dug the hole with a little guy like that. He just started digging and he'd go up and basically just touch those boards and just dig straight down. It was amazing. The way he could control that thing, it was magic. So that's all the pipes that are underground, and we'll see in the video tomorrow, what it looks like today. But yeah, so that's
incredible. I would have never guessed how much goes into a pool. It doesn't seem like it should be that much work, but that is unbelievable.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. That's why we're doing this series, because this is one of those things. You always see the pretty pool when it's done. Right. Building it is unbelievable. And you can see all this white pipe laying around in my backyard. All of that was my old sprinkler system. And they just started digging and going crazy. They're like, yep, you'll have to get a new one. That's just how life goes. So, wow. Okay. Yeah. And that was part of my contract, is that anything that didn't function as it was when you guys showed up, you guys get to fix. And I said, so that includes a full sprinkler system? And he said, yes, it does. I said, okay.
Really?
Put it on the paper. Yeah. So here's more of the old sprinkler, and that's the brains. There's a bunch of wires that they tore up and stuff. Yeah. So somewhere out here, there's, the valve body. I don't know where it is, but they'll have to find it. So this was
sure they'll put in a new one at this point.
Oh yeah. They're going to do a whole new thing. All right. This was about
what progress.
2 weeks later. So 2 weeks later, the tile guys show up and they put on these blue 6x6s at the water line. They put on this special coping rock, and they rocked all four sides of the soon-to-be wall.
How did they pour that concrete? Did they just put forms up?
With this concrete?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the gunite. Okay. And what they did is they came and they stood right here with a hose connected to a truck out at the street.
Oh, so there was kind of spray it on?
Yeah, so there was a pump truck and a concrete truck. Huh. And the concrete truck would feed it into the pump truck, and the pump truck I think watered it down some, but then it shot out this hose and it would just shoot out all over. And so the guy would he started spraying down here, and he sprayed, and this stuff was everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so he would stop spraying over here, he'd come over here, and these guys came in and just started smoothing everything out.
Wow.
And it just kind of stuck, right? And this was all part of the form, right? So that he squirted here, he squirted, and they took, simple 2x4s and just kind of shaved it off. And what they were saying is that the plaster guy that comes last will smooth everything perfect. They just had to be rough. So they sprayed that whole thing in a day. And the guys, would take these big brooms and sweep it and stuff like that to give it texture and things. So yeah, that's what happened. The craziest part was this part where the guy would bring these rocks from the front yard in a wheelbarrow and just dump them in. And I was just like, holy cow, guy, they're kunk, 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 kunk. And I'm like, aren't those beating up the stairs? That's where the guy was like, oh, the plaster guy, he'll make it all right. It was hilarious. I'm like, man, I hope they got a good plaster guy.
No doubt.
So yeah, so that's what they did.
That's amazing.
That's more of those coping stones. And so tomorrow we'll go through video and I'll show you guys where it is today. We are 5 months in at this point. And at 5 months, we still have about another month to go, according to him. Today, we just got another 5 trailers worth of backfill because the pool, the back of the pool is elevated about 3 feet higher than the back of the yard. So he needs to smooth that out so I can mow it easy.
Wow. That's totally cool. I would have never guessed. Thank you for taking us through that journey on how a pool gets built. Because, man, I gotta tell you, up here in Canada, I think it would be even a lot harder. But with all the freezing and everything that goes on throughout the year. But yeah, that's totally crazy. I would have wild.
The video tomorrow will be fun. It'll be a lot of fun because there's a lot of progress. We're waiting for the plaster guy at this point. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
So that's putting in a pool, man, 5 months worth of sweat and looking at this and just going, how does it fit? And these guys that put this coping stone in, dude, I don't know if you can see in the pictures, but it has like a textured edge. And when the blocks came, they came perfectly square, and they took that edge and they put a chisel on about 1/4 of an inch in, bam, moved it over about an inch, bam, and they made so the rock would chip off at that point. Right. And they made the texture so every rock is unique. It's not like from a fact. Yeah, there was a kid just sitting in the side yard. That's all he did all day long was take that little chisel, smack, 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 and he had all these little tiny shards that he was creating.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was intense. Those guys, and they spent so long. So one of them had a grinder, and as they would put the bricks together, he wanted the gaps to be perfect. And so some of them, I guess, when they're cut, they're off. So he would pull that thing away, and he would grind away on one corner, slide it back in, and measure the gap. And he kind of did it with his finger. He could kind of tell if the gap got wider or smaller, right? And he'd grind, and he'd put it back, grind, put it. Okay, that's good. Then they'd do their mastic or whatever. I don't know what caulk they did, stone. Wow. But yeah, it was amazing the amount of artistry that went into it. Mm-hmm. It was, and when they put on the tile at the water line, the guy would pick up every tile and he'd look at the one next to it, and we'd see him kind of turn it till it kind of made sense, and then he'd stick it on. It was crazy because he didn't want two to look the same. Right. He didn't want the same pattern. It was amazing to watch. It was just like, my gosh, these guys are awesome.
Well, it certainly seems like you picked the right pool guy.
I sure hope so. He's got a great reputation here. His customers tend to like him. He's been doing this for 25 years. So he's got a lot to lose if he messes up,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for taking us on that journey. Looking forward to what we're seeing tomorrow. It's going to be great.
You betcha. It'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for tonight, unless there's anything else that we need to talk about.
It was cool to see the Tesla rocket land, or the
SpaceX.
the SpaceX rocket land today.
Dude,
I think
wasn't
that was
that totally awesome? Oh,
yeah.
Man. SN15. So I was curious, and I didn't know this until now. So they went from SN12 to SN15. And the reason they did that is that, SN11, sorry. So serial number 11. They skipped over 12, 13, and 14. And the reason that they did that, and I just found this out today, was because they had so much new tech in SN15, serial number 15, that they just decided to not even bother with 12, 13, and 14. They're like, no, SN15 is ahead of schedule. It's ready to go. Let's launch it. So we've been waiting kind of anxiously over the past few days once they got the go-ahead to launch it. So super cool to see that go up tonight and then do its little belly flop on the way back down to Earth and flip over straight back up and land. It's a little concerned about the little fire that they had going on, but they managed to get that under control, which was totally awesome. So super cool to see. They're gonna be putting a man on the moon in no time. It's gonna be insane.
So, what's your prediction of when SpaceX goes public?
So I did a little bit of research on that, and they need to have, from my understanding, and I don't remember exactly how many years it is, but I believe it's, I think 3 or 4 years of audited financials before they can even go public, and they haven't even started with that yet.
Okay, so we've got some time to put pennies in the
start accumulating for the SpaceX IPO, or maybe if you can find somebody. I mean, you're down in that neck of the woods. Maybe you could just walk over there, tap Elon on the shoulder, and just say, "Hey, man, how do I get in on a private investment deal?"
I'll go have lunch with him or something. I'll have my people get a hold of his people and
take him to BurgerFi.
Oh, there you go. Dude, have I got a burger for you to try? Please tweet BurgerFi.
Yeah, well, you're working on Doge, Tweet, BurgerFi, too.
Yeah, Doge and BurgerFi.
Super excited to see Elon on Saturday Night Live this weekend, too. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but did you hear what's going on, dude? A bunch of the cast members are like, we don't want to hang with that, dude.
I know. What's it doing?
Is that the weird? I know. I don't know. Is it a political statement? Do they not?
I think so. I think it is. And we don't need to get into politics on here, but I think, generally, I don't think they like how he either, I don't know. They just don't like how he is as a person. Feel like he takes advantage of people. I don't know. Maybe they just don't like capitalism. I'm not sure what it is.
That could be a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
probably a lot of liberal arts degrees in that group. I don't mean anything bad by that. I'm just saying. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that stuff. All right, everybody. Fantastic. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Video tomorrow. You get to see an update on the pool.
It's going to be awesome.
All right.